Hey guys, what is going on? And welcome to an episode which I would like to call The Poor Man's Shop. I know, purse strings are feeling a bit light. You're seeing all these flashy characters lately. Darth Nihilus, Director Krennic, Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum. They cost a lot of money. $300, $400, maybe less than $300 if you are lucky, so a lot of money in the game. But fortunately, there is an area of the game which I have come to love dearly, and that is the Shard Shop. This episode is going to be more of a Shard Shop farming guide, and the reason why I'm recording this today is because of this very reason. Let's take a trip over to the Shard Shop, and you will notice I have a bunch of character shards from Galactic War as well as Arena, I believe, and what we're going to do is convert that currency. And we have 1,000 Shard Shop currency, and we're going to purchase the last bundle I need for a 7-star Darth Nihilus. Because Darth Nihilus, when he came out in a pack, it was kind of expensive. To get him all the way to 7 stars, it cost about $300, $400 roughly. And of course, I had to wait a few months because he did not become available in the Shard Shop immediately. So obviously, you're paying $300 to have instant access to and easy access to Darth Nihilus. But a few months later, I am now going to get this guy to 7 stars. Let's go ahead, 7-star this character, and then we're going to talk more about how to use this Shard Shop. So let's do this, baby. There we go. Right there. So in this episode today, I'm going to talk more about the Shard Shop, the hows, the whats, the whys, and all that other great stuff, because I have gotten several characters from the Shard Shop, and I've not spent any money to get this character to 7 stars, as well as other characters. Didn't need to spend crystals to get Darth Nihilus, General Grievous, Baze, or Director Krennic to a high star count, and I want to share my advice with you guys, and hopefully this will be a little helpful for you. So let's get talking about the Shard Shop. So as I said, I got a couple characters to 7 stars from the Shard Shop, with my first one being General Grievous. He is the toughest Shard Shop character ever to farm, and of course, the day I get him to 7 stars, 1 week later, they release him in the fleet shipments for a much easier farming process. So that was one of my worst investments ever in this game, was to get General Grievous to 7 stars. Hasn't been a good character whatsoever, and now he's a bit easier to farm. The second character I got the 7 stars was Baze Malbus. That guy was sitting in the Shard Shop for a long time, and I was like, what the heck? Let's farm him. I had no idea he was going to become one of the more difficult characters to farm in this game, and that has been the first great investment for the Shard Shop for me personally in this game. Having a 7-star Baze Malbus without having to sacrifice any crystals for the shipments or any money for the chromium packs has been a huge payoff. The third investment I made was Director Krennic. I did not get him all the way to 7 stars. I got him to 6 stars, but still, that is very good to do. And lastly, Darth Nihilus to 7 stars. He has been in the Shard Shop for a very long time, and I managed to get him to 7 stars without spending any money, without having to use crystals on shipments or perhaps buy extra shard currency. All of this through free-to-play methods, which I will share with you today. It's essentially our way of getting premium characters without spending the money, but of course we have to wait a few weeks, a few months before they get released into the Shard Shop, and then you have to sacrifice weeks in order to get the character to 7 stars once they do show up in the Shard Shop. And before we talk about how to do that efficiently, you need to know how the Shard Shop works, because there's a very unique currency exchange rate that the Shard Shop uses. So an easy example of how this works is, let's say you have a 7-star Biggs Darklighter and you somehow got 5 more shards of him even though you already have him at 7 stars. Well, all those excess shards that you got, those 5 extra shards or whatnot, you go to the Shard Shop and it tosses them in there, and for every 1 character shard that's an excess, it gets converted into 15 Shard Shop currency. This also works for ships. If you happen to be someone who's very fortunate to have a lot of 7-star ships and you happen to get excess blueprints of ships, every single blueprint of a ship gets converted into 19 Shard Shop currency, so the exchange rate is slightly higher for ships. So for example, let's say you are farming Darth Nihilus, and usually I always recommend farming in bundles of 5, because you never know when the Shard Shop might pull out the character. There might be a surprise update where the character disappears all of a sudden. If you are getting 5 shards of Darth Nihilus, you are going to need roughly 67 excess shards to get 5 shards of this particular character, or whoever else might require 1,000 Shard Shop currency to get 5 shards. Now, I don't mean to scare you, but at the very worst, if we are farming a character from 0 shards, let's say you did not do the marquee event, you have Darth Nihilus at 0 stars, you're gonna need roughly 4,422 excess shards in order to get that character to 7 stars. Or in other words, you are essentially going to sacrifice 13 characters that you could have gotten to 7 stars, or perhaps 13 ships you could have gotten to 7 stars. And even outside of that, if we take advantage of the free-to-play shipment methods, and if you already have a lot of the essential characters from those shipments, you can start working all those excess shards towards the shard shop, and we are going to get into the best way to gain excess shards with the least amount of damage to your overall game progression. And before we talk about what those essential characters are, I have 2 quick tips that I really want to share with you guys. First one being, if you are the average free-to-play player or someone who does not spend a lot of money in this game, I highly recommend sticking to only a few shipments when working towards the shard shop, those being arena shipments, cantina shipments, Galactic War shipments, the random excess shards they give you from a variety of events, and also the Bronzium packs, which are the poor man's Chromium packs. And the last tip I have for you ladies and gentlemen is, unless you have a huge majority of the characters on the cantina table, and unless you have a large variety of amazing mods and a large variety of amazing mods, do not use your cantina energy to go towards the shard shop. I'm not going to go in too much detail about every single one of these characters because the video would be way too long, but if you are going to use arena shipments for the shard shop, at the very minimum, you should have Stormtrooper Han 7 stars, Darth Sidious, IG-88, Akbar, HK-47, Princess Leia, and Chief Nebit to 7 stars at the very minimum. Every single one of those characters is needed for some things. Chief Nebit is essential if you want to get those critical damage mods. All the other characters you should farm at one point. I have every single squad arena character farmed at this point. I've been playing for a year and a half, so I have a lot of these characters start up. Next up here, we have the Galactic War shipments, and before I talk about the Galactic War shipments, I just want to point out, as you're going through Galactic War, you're doing your battles, sometimes when you complete a battle, you'll get some random shards that drop. Tusken Shaman, you get the Rebel Scarif Pathfinder, a lot of other guys, Captain Rex, Commander Cody, so those will also help you go towards the shard shop if you have those characters of 7 stars. Outside of those random drops, there are some crucial characters from shipments you need to have at the very minimum baseline that you should be using before you ever decide using Galactic War for the shard shop. And some of those characters at the very minimum: Cad Bane for the scoundrel events such as the credit heist and training droid heist, Luminar Unduli, great beginner healer, great beginner attacker, Tebow, great beginner Rancor raid character, Biggs Darklighter, great beginner damage dealing character, great end game damage dealing character, and he has a great ship. Dacha is another one you have to get if you want to get critical damage mods, which are very important. IG-86, great beginner burst damage character, great end game character, especially for the AAT raids, and also Captain Phasm, because she is one of the best overall beginner characters in this game that you should be farming at one point or another. Ships is going to be a whole different story. I don't want to go too much on a tangent here. Before you start going into the shard shop, you also want to make sure in your Galactic War shipments you have a bunch of 5-star ships in order to get Zeta mats. I've talked about this in my Zeta mat farming guide, so check that out. I do not have a single 7-star ship yet, mainly because I've been using a lot of my time and resources for the shard shop, so my ships have been lacking. So eventually you do want to make sure you have ships, but make sure before you ever go into the shard shop, make sure you have a decent number of 5-star ships, and check out my Zetamat farming guide if you want to know the exact number and all those details. At the very minimum, ladies and gentlemen, you want to make sure you have Jawa Scavenger at 7 stars. He's great for the AAT rate and critical for the critical damage mod challenge. Fives is a very great beginner character, great raid character, great AAT character, and he's good in arena from here and there, so make sure you have him at 7 stars. Boba Fett. If you don't have Boba Fett to 7 stars and you're putting all your stuff into the shard shop, rethink your life and get back and farm Boba Fett to 7 stars. He is one of the best free-to-play characters right now, and everyone should have him at 7 stars. I'm on the fence about Old Daka. I've made it perfectly fine throughout my beginning journey without Old Daka. I didn't farm her until probably about 3-4 months ago, so you'll be fine if you don't get her to 7 stars, but she is one of those characters people will argue you should make sure you have at 7 stars really quickly. And then lastly, Qui-Gon Jinn and Poe, they are both phenomenal characters, and you need to make sure they are at 7 stars before you ever decide using this shipment towards the shard shop. And the 2 other things, character events. We have a lot of random events in this game. The best one in terms of excess shards has been that Luke Skywalker Flash event. They gave away 120 free Jawa Scavenger shards, and if you already have them at 7 stars like I recommend, that all went to the shard shop, and that right there gets you about 10 shards of characters like Darth Nihilus from the shard shop. Bronzium packs, or the poor man's Chromium packs, are also great for the shard shop. So if you're sitting on a nice stash of ally points, might be a good idea to take them and just burn them hopefully get some shards and put it towards the shard shop to speed up your shard shop farming progression. And in case you guys did not notice, I did not mention guild shipments or fleet shipments. I do not think you should be using those resources towards the shard shop unless you have every single one of the characters and ships to 7 stars in both of those shipments. So you followed my advice, you're using only those shipments, you got the essential characters, you are ready to go, baby. You're probably wondering, well, what's the estimate to get a character from the shard shop to 7 stars? And I'm going to make a few assumptions here. For this example, we are going to assume that Fulcrum, Ahsoka, Tano will go into the shard shop. That is my guess. If it's anything like the previous marquee events and the previous packs they released, she is destined for the shard shop. And I hope she is, because that is when I expect to get her to 7 stars when she goes to the shard shop. We're going to make a few assumptions. As you see towards the bottom right, we have her at 3 stars. 15 shards towards 4 stars, which is pretty much how you end up with these marquee events. So we're assuming you're starting off like this. The other things we're assuming is that you can at least get 10 shards from arena shipments, which for the average person who's using the shard shop, you should be getting about 10 shards from arena shipments every day. 15 shards from Galactic War. We're assuming you can complete Galactic War thoroughly every single day. And then at the very least, we are assuming you can get 5 excess shards of a character from the Cantina shipments, which is a very conservative estimate. So in total, just between those things, we're not taking in consideration all the Bronzium packs, we're not taking into consideration all the random character shards that drop from events, which will be happening, and we're also not considering double drop events like we had not too long ago, which really sped up shard shop farming. So if you're getting 450 shard shop currency on a daily basis, at the very most, you are looking at 118 days to get a character from 3.5 stars all the way to 7 stars. So essentially, what I am saying is that the farming time is going to be a lot shorter. And some final thoughts I want to share with you lovely people is don't get upset if you don't get a character to 7 stars from the shard shop. That happened to me for Director Krennic. I got him to 6 stars fortunately, but they pulled him out really early. He was in the shard shop for maybe 2-3 weeks at the very most, and they pulled him out. He's at 6 stars. Keep this in mind. Getting a character from 4 stars to 6 stars or whatever it might be, you saved yourself months and months and months of farming on the single hard node that characters like Director Krennic and Darth Nihilus are on. Second thought, all this stuff is about excess currency. I never talked about at all about how you should also be farming the character on the hard node they were on. As I was farming all these excess shards for Darth Nihilus, I was also using his hard battle to get a couple shards here and there on a daily basis. Other tip I have for you guys. As you see, when we go straight to the shard shop, you see that there's other characters sometimes, such as Sith Assassin and Sith Trooper. As new characters go into the shard shop, I'll give you my advice on who you should be farming if shard shop farming is your #1 priority. But essentially, if you have characters like Sith Assassin and Sith Trooper who are very easy to get free to play, they are both on the Cantina table, you can get them way easier than Darth Nihilus. I personally would not farm those characters. Only use a shard shop for characters that are very difficult to get for free to play players, such as General Grievous, Baze, Krennic, Darth Nihilus. Another point I'd like to make is I do not personally believe in using shard shop currency for gear. It's quite expensive. Of course, if you have a lot of shard shop currency, you're always opening up chromium packs, then fine, perhaps go for it. But even so, I recommend using your resources at that point to farm your ships to 7 stars, farm more characters to 7 stars, or perhaps start stockpiling on shard shop currency, because someone else is bound to pop up in here, and if you already have 10,000 shard shop currency saved up, you are way ahead of the game to start your shard shop farming for that next difficult character. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys, and if you have any more comments or whatever, please feel free to leave them down below. Let me know what your strategy is. If you need some clarification or whatnot, definitely let me know down below. Also, like this video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And we will talk again soon. Peace out.